போடுங்கம்மா, இதை போடுங்கம்மா. கணத்துக்கு கையை வச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன்.
சரி, வீடியோ ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகலையா?
ஆயிடுச்சுமா.
சரி, இப்போ நான் எப்படி இதை மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுறது? எப்படி மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுறது டக்குன்னு? எப்படி மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுறது? எனக்கு இப்போ ரீட் பண்ணுறது எப்படி? மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுறது எப்படி?
பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகே,
இப்போ இதை ஓப்பன் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. இதை யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க.
இது
வீடியோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பிளாக் பண்ணுங்க.
நீ எனக்கு தாராளமாக ஹெல்ப் பண்ணலாம், தப்பு கிடையாது.
பாருங்க, இதை அழுத்துனீங்கன்னா ஓப்பன் ஆயிடும் பெருசா.
சரி,
அழுத்துங்க. பெருசா ஓப்பன் ஆயிடும். நீங்க இந்த பேக்ரவுண்ட்ல ஓப்பன் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. வேர்டை ஓப்பன் பண்ணுங்க. வந்த உடனே மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுங்க.
இந்த இடத்துல இருந்தா போதும். சரியா?
அது ஓப்பன் பண்ணுங்க. அவங்க வந்திருக்காங்களா இல்லையான்னு உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. அதை பெருசு பண்ணுங்க. பேச ஆரம்பிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் அதை மினிமைஸ் பண்ணுங்க.
என்னுடைய ஃபிகர் எப்படி தெரியுது? ரெக்கார்டுன்னா ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ண முடியுமாடா? இங்க வா, இங்க வா. இது ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா?
எங்க இருக்கு?
இதோ.
ஆமா, பண்ணலாம்.
Alt plus R.
பண்ணுங்க.
இப்பவே ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ண வேணாம், ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போது தான். என்னோட ஃபிகர் எப்படி தெரியுது பாரு.
ரொம்ப
இல்ல, எனக்கு அப்படி வச்சாதான் ரீட் பண்ண
தலை மட்டும்தான் தெரியும் அவங்களுக்கு.
பரவாயில்ல.
ஏன் என்கிட்ட கேட்குறீங்களா? நீங்க விசிபிளா இருக்கணும்னு நான் யோசிக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா நான் கேமரா மேனு.
நான் அப்ப எப்படி ரீட் பண்றதுடா? நான் வந்து connect பண்ணி ஆமா, இந்த கொஸ்டின் வச்சு இப்ப படிச்சா ஆ? வருது
வருதா? எங்க வருது? இல்லம்மா, அது இது தெரியாதுன்றாங்க.
இல்ல இந்த அளவுக்கு வச்சா தெரியாது. Hi.
Hi, Eva. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And yes, Anne, I'm hearing you.
Good. I hear you well also. Very good.
So how's everything?
Busy. We say in the States, never a dull moment. Busy. How about you? Are you in India permanently now, or will you go back to Riyadh?
I'm really waiting for my visa, but still the Southeast Asian politics is going on there. And the all well-reputed institutions are advised to implement it full-fledgedly in the year within the year 2020. So they are really approaching for that. So that they are delaying. But for the scientific committee, but for the research methodology department, they are really in need of my service.
Oh,
so
good.
they are delaying, but probably in the month of Jan, maybe they'll give some reasons to take me again to the university. So I'm waiting for a good chance. And meanwhile, I'm trying to go to Canada also. And one York University of, I think it is in Toronto or somewhere else. It's called York University. And now the recruitment process is going on. And I'm trying in various ways to get being recruited by the best universities throughout the world. So I'm not only expecting this Princess Nora offer again. I'm trying for that, and side by side, I'm here also in India. I'm trying, and in so many other sources, I'm really working hard to get a job. Getting a job is not, it doesn't matter, but I have to be in a very good, reputed university. That is the thing I'm striving for.
Yes, you have so much credentials. Your credentials are so amazing.
Thanks, Lord. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Doctor. And I thank you especially and personally. I thank you very much for giving me this great grand opportunity to be a interview or a keynote speaker in the World Global Conference of 2019. And it's really a very big opportunity and a diamond in my cap, really, in my experience. Yes, I really give credit to this in such a way. Yes.
Oh, you are welcome. You've been so wonderful with the journal. I can't thank you enough for all those reviews and articles. You have been amazing.
So I would like to join hands with you in the field of research, like doing some reviews, as I'm already started doing it with you, and also editing and writing journals, doing research journals, and so on, and writing chapters uh, to your convenient title and all. So I want to work with you. Of course, Dr. Bushra also was sharing this idea with me, and she is also interested to join with you and
Oh,
me.
yeah.
So we three together continue our career and the lift up of, I mean, the empowerment of women especially. So
Yeah.
in future also we can do well. What
I would,
about your
I
yes?
would love to work with you more, especially if you have anything coming soon. Next year, by November, I
Yeah.
have to apply for a tenure so that I still have a job
Okay.
here, and I must get as many publications and presentations as I can
Yes, yes,
before
yes.
November. So anything that I could join with you with, I would be most grateful.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too. It's my pleasure. So we'll do a wonderful job in the field of research methodology. And of course, what about your family and all? And are you free now? I think you have, I mean, 10 minutes more to start the session.
10 minutes more, yes. Yeah. I was having a little difficulty hearing you.
Oh,
I think.
really?
Oh, now I can hear you better. Now I heard you
Yeah,
better.
okay.
My family, well, my husband is here, and I have one son who is 22 years old, and
Mhm,
he is a senior in college. This is his
mhm,
last year.
mhm, mhm,
He studies safety, so he goes into
mhm,
companies and
mhm.
industry buildings to determine
Okay,
if they are safe for workers.
okay,
So,
okay,
but
okay.
we are all well, and I have two elderly parents who I care for. My father is 91 and my mother is 85.
Great. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So you are taking care of your parents, right?
correct. Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. I too have one son, and he's engineer, MTech. He has completed his MTech and is working for Amazon here in India, in Chennai. And he has started his process, I mean, this PR process, this permanent resident process in Canada. And shortly, by God's grace, if God permits, he'll be leaving to Canada very shortly. Very
Oh,
shortly.
congratulations! Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Will he go to York University as well? Where
No,
will he go? Where will he go in Canada?
Same Amazon company in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yes. Yeah. So York University is in Toronto. Near. It's not very far from where I am. I want to say driving. Oh, maybe a 6-hour drive. Not too far. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Really?
so you let me know when you're here. My husband loves going to Canada. Maybe I could talk him into
Really?
driving up.
Fine. Really. So we'll be meeting if God permits, really.
Perhaps. Oh, Tara, are you with us? No?
Hello.
Oh, I see. Oh, they're switching. Maybe the slides are switching. Okay. There should be someone who joins us on this screen. Maybe it will be Steve, but someone who joins to give us a little bit of technical help here. So as we go.
That would be me.
There's Steve. Hey, good to see you.
So who came in on the other Ann account?
So I have two other individuals who are joining me. You might remember from the description. So Eva, who is here with us and she is coming in from India, and then we will have Bushra coming in from Pakistan.
Do you want me to give them links so that their own names show up?
Oh, that would be wonderful, please.
Okay, so or email me email addresses and full names that would show up, and I'll send them invites, and they can log out and log back in again.
Very good. Okay, I will do that right now.
Eva, where are you?
Sir, I'm from India. I'm in Chennai now.
You're
It's
in
one of the four.
Chennai.
Yeah, it's Chennai, Madras.
Yeah.
You know that place? Have you been
I've
here?
been here. I loved
Yeah,
it.
really. It's a rainy season here. Nice weather outside, and the time is around about 8:30 p.m. And of course, yeah, it's my pleasure and God's grace that I'm seeing you and Dr. Ann and other faculty in this forum, in this media.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I'm gonna disappear for 2 minutes while I get the links going, and then you can, Eva, when you get that new link, log out and log in with the new link.
Very
Oh,
good.
sure.
Steve,
Okay.
I just sent to you their emails and names. Okay. Yes, so please do let me know, Eva, when you're in York University.
No, now the recruitment process is going on. The committee is really doing their process. They are really seeing my CV. It is in the preliminary stage.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if my age is a big barrier.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't get any point for this age. They are giving nearly 130 points. So everything is based on points, it seems. So I'm losing all my points for the age. So I don't know. But the university has all the rights to recruit me directly,
Very good.
even for not considering my age and all. So if some miracle happens, definitely they'll call me. Yes.
Yes. Well, Toronto is a wonderful area. It's
Oh, really?
would be a nice place to live and to work, and very,
Okay.
very prosperous. Also
Okay.
very diverse. People from all over the world in Toronto.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Nice. So you are only 6 hours in distance?
6 hours drive. Yes.
Oh,
I was there last year for the American Education Research Association conference.
okay,
I
fine.
presented,
Okay.
and I had not been to Toronto for many years, and it's
Oh,
really
okay.
very developed, very safe, many opportunities.
Okay.
It would be a wonderful place for you.
Okay.
So I will, as we say here in the States, keep my fingers crossed, which means good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, so I've sent invites. They come from Zoom. So Eva, check your email and see if you got a link from Zoom to come in that would show your
Yes.
own name.
Yeah, I'm checking, sir. I'm just
Okay, so
checking.
you can just close this out and then use that new link to come in.
Okay.
And then I did the same for Dr. Rahim.
Yes.
Yeah. So click here to join. I'm clicking here. I'm clicking this. Yeah. Yes.
So she just sent me an email saying she's unable to see or to hear us.
Oh.
So I wonder if she's in the audience link. Let's see.
Okay.
We did practice on Zoom last week, Steve, off of my Zoom room, and we all three connected just fine.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Let's see if she's in. She's not in the.
Okay,
Oh, look, Govinda is here from Nepal.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't see her in the attendees.
So are you seeing me, sir?
I'm seeing. Is that you, Eva?
Yeah. Yes. Are you
I'm
seeing me?
you. Yeah, but
Okay.
you can log out and use the new link to log in, so it should come in with your name.
Okay.
And then Dr. Rahim, I think And you might email and just let them know I've sent the link.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the email that had their contact information maybe confused her. She says, seems I'm unable to see or hear you all. I wonder where she is. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I ran this. Oh, here the internet is very slow.
Okay, sent.
Yeah.
So, Anne, would you like to do introductions? How would you like that to go?
That would be fine. Definitely. We have prepared introductions and prompts and hope to have a wonderful and lively discussion. I would be glad to.
Okay, and I can watch the chat for you.
Excellent. I see the chat as well here. So, okay.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Got it.
Once you go to slide share, do you know how to kind of watch the chat at the same time?
Yes, we do not have any slides, Steve.
Oh, okay. So would you want me to leave that? What would you like to put up on the screen? Oh, just your faces. That'll be fine.
I think just us, really. You know, after the screen you created is so beautiful. I took a screenshot. I love this keynote slide is gorgeous. But maybe once we start, if you could get rid of that and just have Eva and Bushra and myself, that would be excellent.
Yeah, perfect. And I can't take credit for that slide. Lucy did it in Canva.
Yay, hooray for Lucy. You're both so amazing.
Oh, we're amazing. So it's so fun to see Govinda in the chat, because we know Govinda for years now, coming in on a cellular modem. So Govinda, one of our fears about using Zoom has been that someone like you would have trouble seeing it, but you must be okay.
Wonderful. Steve, do we have any idea how many people are tuning in live as we do on the Blackboard Collaborate?
Yeah, if you go to the bottom of the window, does it show you a participants icon that gives a number?
Yes, 21. Very good. Can they all hear me right now?
They can.
Welcome to our participants. We are so excited you're here. Thank you.
And then they can also, there's also a live YouTube stream for anybody who's having bandwidth issues.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, so we're at the time to start, but
yes.
Eva's still in as you, and Bushra's not in. Do you want to wait a minute and make sure that everybody here?
Sir, can I raise a question now? In your mail, there is a link called click here to join. I clicked it already, but it says that it's a second launch meeting. So what can I do here?
You probably have to exit out of this window first for that second link to work.
So she should totally close out, Steve. X out.
Yeah. Totally close out and then use that new link.
Okay. And Bushra has written back, she clicked on the link, but nothing is happening.
So, sir, can I close this link and open that?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Now, if Bushra can come in on the general public link. Oh, there she is. Hooray!
Hey, welcome. Can you hear us, Bushra?
Yeah.
I'm not
wonderful.
Bushra, yeah.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is delightful. So, Eva, you can just stay if you want and let people know that the name is wrong.
Yeah, okay, so I'm seeing you. I'm in the same Zoom link.
Yeah. Just stay in the room, I think.
Okay, sir.
Very good.
Okay. So I'm going to get us started, if that's okay.
Perfect.
That's okay.
Hi, it's Steve Hargadon, and welcome to day 2 of the Global Education Conference. We're just so delighted to have Anne Gaudino here with Eva and Bushra, her guests. I'm going to turn the time directly over to them. Thanks. Go ahead.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks to you and Lucy for having us as keynote speakers for the 2019 Global Education Conference. We are thrilled to be here, and we're thrilled to be talking about a topic that is very close to us, and that is the leadership of education for girls and for women. I'm going to speak for just a few minutes to get us started. I will tell a little bit about myself, and then Dr. Bushra and Dr. Eva will continue on about themselves. And we've prepared some dialogue that we hope that you find to be really interesting. So I'm an associate professor of education leadership at Millersville University in Pennsylvania in the United States. And here I teach courses in the master's and doctoral program in education leadership. And I teach this to teachers and to principals, all of them wanting to progress as leaders. Myself, in terms of girls' education, I've had a long history with this. I went to girls' education. I was a product of girls' education from kindergarten through 12th grade. And what has attracted me to this topic is that I have had so many wonderful mentors. Of course, my mother, first of all, was a wonderful mentor and role model to me, but also just teachers and professors who I had. Dr. Marilyn Mason, the late Dr. Marilyn Mason at the University of Michigan, so tremendous in my life. And so I've had these role models of what does it look like to be a leader in a woman in education, whether that be in leadership of education, in music, in English, all different areas. But at the same time, I've had wonderful male mentors, and I don't want to discredit that. And these male mentors have so encouraged me and allowed me the space to grow as a woman and a woman leader in education. And there are just too many of them to name. Would also like to thank my university and my college and my wonderful colleagues here in the Education Foundation Department, again, for supporting me as a woman in education and a woman leader. And through all of these people, over many years, I have developed a voice, I think, and an ability to lead in a way that has been good. So after going through girls' education, I went back to that very same school as the principal. And I found that there were girls needing encouragement, needing a role model on how to be a woman and how to lead at that level and how to learn. And we know from research that girls do very well in an educational environment, and they do very well in an all-girls environment, in part because they can assume every role. They do everything. And so as a principal in a girls' school, I gave girls every opportunity, and they took it. They're so anxious to take it. They would never take a back seat, as we say in the States. They would never step back, but they would always step forward to develop a voice. And their voice was powerful. We know, and of course I wouldn't be a college professor if I didn't talk about research. So we know from research that women thrive in education, and that when one woman is educated, it benefits her family financially, it benefits her community, and that just continues to grow. And when we educate many women and we allow many women to be leaders, then our society thrives. So women's right in education is as much education's right to have women there, and such a key role that they play. And this is nothing new. But despite all of this research, all of these many wonderful examples like Dr. Bushra and Dr. Eva, women face resistance to their education. And this is true. I've seen it around the world. Here in the United States, I see undermining of women, sometimes very small acts, things that can't be prosecuted by law or in a court, but things that are a detriment to women, things that discourage them. And these behaviors come from not only men, but from women too, which would seem to be very, very ironic. You would think women would want to have women leaders, but what we know is that it feels and looks different to have a woman leader in education. We talk differently as women, we act differently, we have different solutions, and sometimes different, whether you're a man or a woman, different feels wrong. And so because there's a difference, we think that, oh, this is not right. This woman, she's not a leader because she's different. And we give stereotypical remarks as to, oh, well, she must be pregnant. That's why she's acting that way. Well, no, it's because it's the right decision to be made. And so amidst all of this encouragement, we have some discouragement. And yet what we see from women is this perseverance. We see so much hope. We see so many gains here in the United States. We have a new dean at Harvard in the Graduate School of Education, a woman, an African American woman. And recently we've had a woman run to be president of the United States. And even though she was not successful, we now have more women stepping up to lead, whether it's in education or other areas. So one of the things I'm so interested in is what makes them tick? You know, what makes these women continue on in a way that is just so remarkable? What do they have in common? What are their unique characteristics that they have that have enabled them to be so successful? And so I've kind of been on this quest, right, to discover this and hopefully share it, because again, we know that if girls have a relatable role model as a woman, that they're more likely to be educated and they're more likely to be successful. So I'd like to just share briefly a book that I recently published, just so that you can see this, about a remarkable woman in Italy who has saved music education in Italy. We think of Italy as being a place that is so known for music, and it is for hundreds of years. But what we also know is that there has been a lack of leadership for education of children and women in music. And Joan Yaki came forward as a leader over the last several decades to completely change that. So if you're looking for an interesting book about a woman leader, this is one. Again, I'm glad to share this book with you that I wrote. Also, we have some chapters about Mary Parker Follett, very famous American woman. I'll show that as well, who worked in the field of social work, but intersected with education and was a brave woman to speak up and say, here is what must happen in education, and to lay a pathway on how that is to take place. So you see, even myself, I have had so many role models. But now for the most important people for today, I'm so pleased to introduce to you Dr. Evangeline Aroselvi Whitehead and Dr. Bushra Rahim. I've been acquainted with them through a journal that I founded and edited. It's called the Excellence in Education Journal, www.excellenceineducationjournal.org. And over time, I've been just amazed at what they are doing in their areas. So I'll read just some brief introductions, and then they get to talk, and they will be far more interesting, I'm sure, than anything I have said. So dear Dr. Bushra Rahim is a Fulbright hero and a core member in Women's Leadership Network in Pakistan. Dr. Rahim is an AUS-aide and Fulbright scholar and a Charles Willis Fellow. She received her PhD in Education Policy from the State University of New York, Albany, Master's in Education Administration from the University of New England in Australia. She is a career and civil servant, social entrepreneur, researcher, and social activist. And she has been very instrumental in her country with several reforms, including school-based management and the successful modeling of performance-based budgeting, coupled with an inbuilt accountability framework called Independent Monitoring Systems. She currently serves as the Deputy Director of Home and Tribal Affairs for the government in Pakistan. Welcome to Dr. Bushra Rahim. Dr. Eva Aroselvi Whitehead is an Associate Professor of Education in English and has served in a college in Daman, Saudi Arabia from 2011 to 2016, and the English Language Center of TAFE University at Mecca province in Saudi Arabia. She has also served as Associate Professor in the English Language Institute of the Princess Noura University in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. She is a language specialist who received her PhD in English education. She has a master's in English education and also public administration, counseling, and psychotherapy. Dr. Eva is a certified cognitive behavioral therapist and psychologist, and she's recognized as a guide and author. Altogether, she has written over 17 books in education that are being used by more than 700 colleges of educations and universities in the country of India. In addition to this, she has served as a school principal and a leader. She's a life member of the India Association for Education Research, the Academy of Registered Psychotherapists, the Association of Social Psychologists, and the Indian Society for Technical Education. So without further ado, welcome Dr. Rahim and welcome Dr. Arusalvi.
Thank you, Dr. Ann.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Steve,
Ann.
So we would like to talk with you today to find out many ideas around this idea of leading women's and girls' education, because you have both been so instrumental in your countries, and your stories are stories that the world needs to hear, and so we're excited to share that. So let me ask you first, could you tell us a little bit about your insights of your role, how you are leading and advocating for inclusive education for women and girls? And maybe we will start with Dr. Eva first, and then Dr. Bushra. So Dr. Eva.
Respected ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure and honor to be a tiny part of this 2019 Global Education Conference. I thank Dr. Ann Gaudino for inviting me to present my educational thoughts representing girls and women's education in India and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, inclusion to me is a continuous process. As a professor and basically as a teacher, I strengthen and sustain the participation of all students, teachers, parents, and community members in the work of the educational institution. As a constructor of curriculum, I provide an accessible curriculum and appropriate training programs for all students and teachers. I restructure the practices of culture and policies in the schools to respond to the diversity of people within the locality of the educational institutions. I educate my students and teachers to fulfill constitutional responsibilities to develop a healthy citizenship, to develop a feeling of self-respect, to use modern technology, and to be self-reliant and social equality. The common problems faced by the students in the regular classrooms are inferiority complex, lack of understanding, adjustment problems, isolated and segregated feelings, feelings of insecurity, lack of expression, shyness, lag behind in studies, considering studies as overburden, and introvert behavior. To help my students overcome these problems, I interact with the parents periodically to know more about the students and help them overcome their problems by introducing new learning strategies. I look after the special needs and serve accordingly. I always have one-to-one meeting with my students to understand them personally in a very friendly manner and to have focus group to develop self-confidence. I recognize the hidden talents and showcase their abilities in various programs and activities. On the whole, I prepare my students to develop self-confidence, inculcate positive attitude, develop brotherhood, and improve quality of education. As an advocate for inclusive education, I use some teaching strategies in my classrooms. I use cooperative learning, peer tutoring, multisensory teaching to the student teachers, project-based learning using the real-life scenario, technologies in the classroom like Quizlet and Kahoot, and analysis of emotions, all these things. And also crossover learning like using club activities and field visits. In my experience, there are certain barriers to achieve inclusive education in a full swing in India. I realize textbooks must be really improved. Physical facilities and infrastructure of the classrooms must be improved. But this is already achieved in the classrooms of Saudi Arabia. But in India, there is a lack of trained teachers, so that special training must be given to the teachers. And definitely there must be a great improvement in the methods of teaching, of course, and resources and funds should be raised. And social and gender discriminations must be completely put off. So I'm doing this in my classrooms as an advocate for inclusive education.
Thank you, Dr. Eva. So very inspiring. Dr. Bushra, same question to you. How have you led and advocated for inclusive education of women and girls in your country?
Thank you, Dr. Ann, for having me, and thank you, Steve and Lucy, and hello to all the participants who are viewing this conference. Just like you said in the introduction, as a civil servant, I remained involved in multiple reforms. Two major reforms related to education sector are, just like you said, school-based management, or what we call it, parent-teacher councils here in Pakistan. And the second reform is performance-based budgeting. Under the Parent-Teacher Council reforms, we devolved autonomy to all the government schools so they can spend the budget on need basis. We faced a lot of resistance from the stakeholders. However, we were able to implement the reform, which is still there. Under performance-based budget, we moved away from incremental form of budgeting to allocating budget on the performance of schools. My second role is as a co-founder of a non-for-profit organization, which is called Development Agent for Change. In that organization, we are involved in mostly advocacy campaigns related to political participation of women, women economic empowerment, enrollment of out-of-school children, and child protection, to name a few. My third role is a social entrepreneur. I lead a non-profit organization which is called Association of Business Professional and Agricultural Women. In that setup, we are working for girls' education, adult literacy, women economic empowerment, and run advocacy campaign on education, environment, and health. We have established community schools for girls and women skill development centers, which is funded by mutual collaborations and donations. We don't receive fund from international or national organizations. It is run purely on charity basis. We have recently launched reading story books in public schools through volunteers from local universities, which is a roaring success. Another my role is as a president of Fulbright Alumni Association, in which we do scholarship awareness programs, events on interfaith harmony, and book reading drives and things like that. So this is a little bit about me and my role as an advocate for inclusive education.
Thank you, Dr. Bushra. I hear in both of you so much encouragement and so much hope, and you've done so many remarkable things in your countries. And yet we know there are challenges. So that's my next question for you is, what are the challenges to educating girls in developing economies, India, Pakistan, and why is it important to address these? So maybe we'll start this prompt first with Dr. Bushra and then Dr. Eva. Dr. Bushra.
Actually, Pakistan has taken some commendable steps over the last few years to improve K-12 education, and here we call it elementary and secondary education. Some of the steps taken are like devolving education to provinces under 18th Constitutional Amendment in 2010, promulgation of right to compulsory education, cash transfer programs for secondary school girls, public-private partnership and things like that. However, there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of access, quality, and equity. Let me explain it further to you. There are 65 million children of school-going age in the country, of which 22 million are not attending schools, and 2/3 of them are girls. We have fewer number of girls' primary and secondary schools than boys. So if you look at the distribution of those who are in the schools, which is 43 million, you would visualize a pyramid. Nearly 10.7 million boys and 8.6 million girls are enrolled at the primary level. And you know this drops to just 3 million and 2 million girls at the lower secondary level. So you can imagine the high rates of dropouts between primary and lower secondary level. The challenges to educating girls can be divided into supply side and demand side constraints. The supply side constraints are, one, there are insufficient number of schools. So there are 79,000 boys primary schools in Pakistan as compared to 42,000 girls primary schools. And middle and high schools are further lower than the primary schools. So the girls' middle and high schools are just 16,000 as compared to 79,000 boys' primary schools. And there are just 18,000 boys' middle schools as compared to 79,000 boys' schools and 42,000 girls' schools. So you can understand we are short of schools in Pakistan, especially for girls. The second issue is overcrowded classrooms. The policy of one teacher for 40 students is used at primary and middle level. However, in my province, which is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, 39% of government schools have a student-teacher ratio of more than 40:1. 39% of government schools have fewer teachers. Similarly, in Sindh, this figure is as high as 47%. So with student to teacher ratio as high as 80 to 90 or 100 students to a teacher, classroom management issues abound. And high per classroom enrollment required than introduction of teaching assistants. So we are severely short of teachers and we have overcrowded classrooms. Third major issue for girls is significant home to school distance. Um, you know, the benchmark to construct a middle school in Pakistan is that there should be 4 to 5 primary schools in that area, and then one middle school is constructed, which implies, of course, larger house to school distances. In rural areas, traveling long distances are insecure for girls, so which necessitate the use of transportation. Otherwise, when girls walk on foot, and if God forbid anything happens, someone harass a girl or something, she's asked to stay at home and leave the school. Another important issue is poor quality of education. The learning outcomes in public sector schools are not up to the mark. So according to a household survey in rural Punjab, 72% of class 3 kids cannot read a story in Urdu, which is our national language. And similarly, the statistics for reading sentences is significant. It's 93% class 3 children cannot read class 2 level sentences. Another important issue is lack of school resources, by which I mean we don't have requisite number of classrooms or other infrastructure facilities like bathrooms or potable water. On the demand side, I would like to say that the major issues are poverty, lack of parental support, and cultural approach to girls' education. So these are some of the major issues that girls face here in Pakistan.
Thank you, Dr. Bushra. Dr. Eva.
Yeah. Al Gore, former Vice President of the United States, says, population growth is straining the Earth's resources to the breaking point, and educating girls is the single most important factor in stabilizing that. Plus, helping women gain political and economic power and safeguarding their reproductive rights. Okay, I agree with that. Educating a girl is one of the best investments her family, community, and country can make. Over the last 25 years, there have been large gains in girls' education, and we, as a global community, can appreciate ourselves really for the real progress that has been made. Our governments and the educational institutions, international organizations, media, and non-governmental organizations are doing remarkable improvements in girls' education. Despite this progress, the research data shows that there are hotspots in the world, and especially countries in Africa, Middle East, South Asia, and especially in India, are home to the widest gender gaps in enrollment. To examine why girls are behind these hotspots, we begin with the girl as a family at the center, and also the norms, resources, and the economy are often instruments for perpetuating this gender inequality. I am going to put my points in a nutshell. The first point is schooling is more costly for girls. in India especially. The direct costs are school fees, uniforms, books, and transportation. Many non-experimental studies using household survey data finds that girls' schooling is more sensitive to cost and time that girls spend working or helping family. The second point is early marriage and teen pregnancy keep girls out of school. Today, 1 in 3 girls in low and middle income countries continue to be married before the age of 18. And 1 in 9 girls are married before their 15th birthday. According to the UNICEF data, 47% of girls are married by 18 years of age, and 18% of girls are married by 15 years of age. And child marriage imposes heavy costs for girls socially, physically, and emotionally, and undermines all efforts taken to improve girls' education. And the next challenge is pervasive school-related violence harms millions of girls and young women. This violence ranges from extreme acts such as kidnapping, bombing, maiming, and killing, acts which often occurs in context of armed conflict, militancy, and political violence. And in 15 countries around the world are directly targeted at girls. I can say Malala in Pakistan and Chibok girls in Nigeria. And restricted space and expectations limits girls' education to reap the returns to education. Lack of women's participation in political affairs is high in many places. Survey says that there are many places where no women had even been the local leader. 86% of parents wanted their daughters to be either a housewife or whatever their in-laws would decide for her, compared with less than 1% of their sons. And illiteracy or ignorance of people also a constraint in the empowerment of women, and lack of decision-making authority, and many customs and cultural practices hidden the empowerment of women. For example, many parents do not send their daughters to schools when they attain puberty, and this practice is still persists in many remote villages of India. And lack of overall awareness in general, and particularly lack of knowledge in technology, hinders the progress in education. And inadequate and unorganized healthcare delivery systems disturbs girls' education. And lack of high quality and gender sensitive curricula and learning materials are all challenges of girls' education. While I talk about girls' education in this century, India witnessed one of the highest female infanticide incidents in the world. And also the female feticide is another major issue in India. Indian government has taken special actions against these two issues, and now it is completely under control. According to the ACHR report, ultrasound for prenatal determination of sex can be done for as low as 2.6 US dollars. Ultrasound and abortion can be done for about $150 of course. To be born as a girl child and to live as a girl in this society itself is a major problem. Dowry system in South Asia, which makes daughters an unaffordable economic burden, also contributes to female infanticide. Girls are not safe, and girls from poverty-stricken families are even more vulnerable. They are often subjected to different kinds of harm, neglect, violence in the form of abuse, harassment, domestic violence, rape, etc. So education is an important tool that enables women and girls to participate in decisions that affect their lives and in improving their social status. And it's very important to address these problems here to elicit special attention and to create great awareness amongst the educationalists who are listening to me here and those who are witnessing this session throughout the world. More educated girls and women aspire to become leaders and thus expand a country's leadership and entrepreneurial talent. Economic growth is faster when girls learn. Education opens doors for opportunities for young women, especially when they cannot count on family, wealth, property, or business connections. Women with more years of schooling are more likely to find employment and own and operate productive forms of firms and earn higher wages. So it's a responsibility and duty to face all the challenges and help these girls to have proper education and non-formal education and all these things.
Thank you, Dr. Eva. I'd like for us to take just a few minutes and bring together some of your ideas here that you've expressed. And this will go a little off of our prompts that we talked about, but I think it's worth taking a few minutes just to have some open discussion, because you've both done so much for girls' education in your countries and to lead the education of girls and women. You are the relatable role model that girls seek and that girls aspire to. And I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about your story, and specifically, what do you see as the solution in terms of helping more girls to get educated? What are some specific things that you have done or things that you think you still want to do, that you aspire to do, that will improve the education for girls? So I open that up to either Dr. Bushra or Eva, whoever would like to respond.
Eva, would you like to talk on this?
Yeah, sure. So as a professor and as an educationalist, I would like to reach the downtrodden children and the girls in India and also in Saudi Arabia. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru once pointed out, to awaken the people, it is women who must be awakened. Once she is on the move, the family moves and the village moves and the nation moves. So the first is, I'm insisting the changing attitude of women. The first and the foremost factor which can lead to empowering women is that there must be change in the attitude of women. Empowerment should come from within. Women must empower themselves by changing their attitude. Women should realize that opportunities will not land in their hands. They must create them. They should fight to restore their dignified position in the society. They should strive hard to enforce their rights and establish due justice and equality in the society. They themselves should work hard for the elimination of illiteracy, poverty, dowry ills, and thus women have to empower themselves by changing their status. I can give some data. That is, women today do not need just a basic education. Also, I insist non-formal education or function-oriented education that would equip them to take up challenging jobs so that they can enjoy economic independence and deliver them from under domination by others. It can be used as a tool to bridge the gender gap. So this UNESCO conference in 1962 underlined the importance of the access of girls and women to technical vocational education. So as a professor, I am not only entertaining education to the students, they should be learning some vocational education also for the economic and social development. And emphasis is strongly laid by the Indian government on enrollment and retention of the girl child in formal schools and non-formal education, and through incentive schemes such as midday meals, free supply of textbooks, uniforms, school bags, and science kits, scholarship, residential and hostel facilities. So we are changing curriculum according to the needs of the children. And also we are giving it in non-formal way, and we give a proper curriculum is formal education, and also we introduce non-formal education. And also we give entrepreneurial training to the students and to the women forum. And this business training opportunities and greater confidence in negotiating the bureaucracies of the government. And also we try to eliminate gender discrimination, and it is now slowly been put off in India. And we encourage development programs. As an educator, we request the governments and non-profitable organizations to conduct some knowledgeable workshops and seminars to educate the ladies to have education, and also let their family members to have family ladies to have education. And these are as and we do some research also in these areas, and give them very personal attention and care to them, and we have personal meeting with the ladies. And also we introduce the help of mass media. We project and propagate women related issues and create great awareness, particularly about women empowerment. So these are the things we do, as I do, along with the government sectors in India.
So In my opinion, what we can do to enhance, in addition to enhancing educational opportunities, I think for rural girls who need support from parents, and in addition to that, they need psychosocial support, which is very important. Life skills training, exposure to mentors, and relatable role models are other ways that can empower women. Access to female counselors who are adept at teaching girls important life skills such as negotiating gender barriers while remaining committed to getting education and economic independence is also crucial. For urban girls who belong to educated families and have support from their families, career counseling and mentorship programs are very crucial. Let me share a story. I visited a rural village in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and when I was talking to those girls in connection with connecting those artisans with the markets, I saw a girl who seemed very confident and who seemed like she was a little bit educated. And I asked her why you are not continuing your education and why you are just learning this skill. She said that my uncle is not allowing me to enroll in grade 9. And I asked her why. So she said that ask my uncle. And I'm begging him that I need to continue my education. And but he and especially he and my father, they are not allowing me. So I asked her to introduce me to her uncle and father, and so that I can encourage them to let you go to school. When I met her uncle and father, and I them that see, education is so much important, and look at me and look at my other team members who are so educated, and now we are here in rural areas, and now we are imparting literacy to rural women, and we are imparting these skills, these handicrafts, so that they can be economically empowered. So why not you are allowing your daughter and your niece to continue her education? So they were, of course, very kind of regarded me because of my work and because I belong to that area. So luckily, like they approved my request and they allowed her to continue her education. So I think this is very important that instead of just asking the girls to continue education, we should build a support system. We should provide a psychosocial support system for those girls, because one of our parents or both of our parents, they don't allow us to continue education. So family pressure or pressure from mentors or role models is extremely important so that girls can continue their education. So this is my take on this.
That's so interesting. I guess we could say it's a small world. As an elementary principal at an all-girls school, I had very similar things. Not so much about why girls should continue their education, but why their education should continue at an all-girls school. And I would have fathers that would come up to me and say, "Oh, well, I know you don't like men here." Well, no, that had nothing to do with it. But we just created this atmosphere in which girls could be so successful at the Ellis School, and they were, and they have for many years and continue to be successful. But I think we have in our society, and it's sounding like it's not just the United States, but we have this people really just thinking that girls' education is not such a good thing. Which leads me really to my next question for both of you, and that is, in addition to enhancing education opportunities, as we've talked about, are there other things that we can be doing to empower women, to empower girls? And so I'll put that out to both Dr. Eva and Dr. Bushra, whoever might like to respond.
So may I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it is important to have relatable role models. Just like I said earlier, that psychosocial support is important, and it is very important, just like you said in your introductory speech, that relatable role models are very crucial for building aspiration and hope amongst girls. So what happens in Pakistan here is that women are told that they are not capable of doing anything because they are women. It is perceived that women become too headstrong and irrepressible, and if they get education, they would become free thinking, and they start seeing themselves as the equals of men, and women start mingling with men who are strangers to them, which is giving birth to immorality. And that is why, you know, the number of women aged 20 to 34 having secondary education who are active in the workforce is just 3.8% in Pakistan. So it is very important to challenge deeply embedded social and cultural norms to unlock opportunities for women. And you know, like these cultural and social norms, they are in clash with the Islamic teachings. The first wife of our last prophet, peace be upon him, she was a businesswoman, and our holy prophet used to support her in her business. So the question arises is that who can be a role model? What I would suggest is that strong role models can be people at household, just like you mentioned, local, national, or international level. At household level, a strong mother can be a role model who stands up against domestic abuse or faces the odds to educate her daughters. At local level, like you mentioned, teachers can be role models as the success experienced by them is attainable and replicable. At national and international level, women who are athletes, community leaders, successful businesswomen, celebrities, confident peers, or any strong women whose presence will resonate with the girls can be role models. And you know, some of the studies conducted in India, they found out that after seeing a minimum of 2 female chiefs, parents were more likely to want their daughter to study past secondary school. So this is the importance of role model. Other studies have concluded that there is a strong correlation between women with role models and women with leadership goals. Um, so these are some of the studies, and then again I would narrate a story recently that happened in connection with the social work that I do. One of our female volunteers visited a government girls' schools in Peshawar, where I live, in connection with reading storybooks to grade 3 girls to establish their connection with books and improve their reading skills. One day she was reading the story of an astronaut, and she asked the children what they want to become in the future. A significant number of girls responded that they want to be medical doctors, and very few said they want to be teachers. And you know, just one girl said she wants to be an artist, and just one girl said that she wants to be an engineer. So this instance indicates that there is a depth of role models for these girls, and hence they should be exposed to more relatable role models from diverse professions, so they can aspire to become like them. So this is my take on this question.
Yes, the world is full of inspiring women whose passion, work, and impact in their community encourage us to choose a specific field of study, follow a certain career path, and become economically empowered. Role models are important for the development of professional identity, personal growth, and career success as they provide a source of learning, motivation, self identification, and career guidance. Uh, Typically, people get inspired to do something when they see others like them do it. Uh, when women see other women in roles, they find it easier to imagine themselves in those roles and are more likely to put themselves forward. In addition, when they see women in leadership positions, they are most likely to speak up themselves. Female students are more likely to choose a major when they are assigned a female professor instead of a male one. I myself experienced this with my female researchers who work under my guidance. Retention of junior level female employees is highly correlated with the number of female supervisors. So models are really, role models are really a great impact, and students are really following the role models, the best role models, and the teacher's duty is to present them a role model, and also being as a good role model to them. And apart from, I would like to say few role models, one or two in India and Saudi Arabia. Apart from Mother Teresa, Mother Teresa very well, and Indira Gandhi, the one and only female Prime Minister of India, and Kalpana Chawla, the first woman of Indian origin to venture into space as an astronaut. I can bring hundreds of living female role models here, but I'm going to say only one or two. The first one is Indira Nooyi. She is the Indian-born American businesswoman, and she made the world sit up and take notice when she became the CEO of the world's second largest corporation in the world. I have noticed many Saudi girls, and also my Indian students, are really seeing this Indira Nooyi as their role model to become best person, best women in the world. And the other one is Sanjikta Parashkar. He's an Indian police. She's an IPS here. And she is the only Iron Lady of Assam, and is the first woman to have been appointed as IPS officer in Assam. And she has arrested over 64 militants and take down 16 of them, and she has also seized tons of arms and ammunition. So Sanjikta is known to be a dedicated and courageous officer, best known for fighting terrorism, corruption, and crime against women. So in my classrooms, I always introduce these ladies to my students, and they observe something and they take good points from them. So definitely role models are very useful to the career lift up of the ladies, the students, lady students.
Thank you. We have just a few minutes left, and so we want to kind of bring some ideas together. But both of you reminded me of a favorite quote I've had for so many years by Gustave Apollinaire, a French writer. And he said, "Come to the edge." And the people said, "We're afraid." And again, he said, "Come to the edge." And again, the people said, "We're afraid." So he said one more time, "Come to the edge." And he pushed them, and they flew. So you are both flying in so many wonderful ways. And I'm wondering, who has pushed you? Who has motivated you? Who are your role models? Just very briefly, because we have only a few minutes left.
Yeah.
With Dr. Eva.
Yeah, for me, this teaching journey has started because of my mom. She is a strong lady with a firm conviction that all women should have economic independence, because it gives them confidence, a sense of self-worth, and also positively impacts the attitude of those around her. My passion for teaching is noticed by my mom at my younger age. When she noticed me while playing, I used to take the role of a teacher, teaching to my toys and plants, and in various circumstances, assuming them as my students. From then onwards, my mom, who was also a teacher and headmistress of a school, guided me to enter into the wonderful field of teaching. My best role model and inspiration was Servapillai Radhakrishnan, who was the first vice president and second president of India. He was also a philosopher and introduced the thinking of Western idealist philosophers into Indian thought. He was a famous teacher, and his birthday is celebrated as Teachers' Day in India. He inspired me a lot. And according to the words of William Arthur Ward, the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. And several faculty members have had an enormous impact on my education and life goals. But I should definitely mention Dr. Rachel Jebaraj, who taught me research methodology and educational statistics. In fact, she has created a passion and laid a strong foundation for research methodology and educational statistics. She has created a fire in my heart on this subject, and she always motivated me to search and research. She was thorough in her subject, and she knew how to actively engage as the student teachers in research methodology and other subjects, getting us to problem solve and persist with challenges. She used to give us inspirational classroom projects and tasks that helped us see research and statistics as beautiful subjects. Her passion and her dedication to her work inspired me to pursue higher education and a career in research. If I am good in research methodology and being a role model to my research scholars, it's because what Dr. Rachel taught me in my undergraduation of education. My another inspiring professor was Dr. Rao. She taught me methods of teaching English at St. Christopher's College of Education, Chennai in 1988. She was unconventional, original, and inspiring, constantly inventing her own teaching materials to teach English in a very, very interesting way. And she was brilliant at communicating her learning and her enthusiasm. She was my role model to become an English teacher in the College of Education. Actually, all my role models made me strongly believe the credo. If you set your sights far and the intention to do hard work is strong, your feet will carry you there. It is to this belief that I attribute all my accomplishments till today and my passion to teach and research further. Life for me is a dynamic process demanding to search, research, and to innovate always. I believe on the fact if a woman wants to do something, she will find a way. Otherwise, she will find an excuse. So these are my role models. I'm still believing, and really, I'm really appreciating them. Because of them, I'm here as a teacher. Thanks to God also.
You're right, Eva. I'll give a short answer, I think, because we are short of time.
Yes.
So my own academic and professional trajectory is non-linear. I was bullied, I was body shamed, I was abused, and people called me names. However, I accepted those challenges in early years of adulthood and turned to reading books to find answers to why me. I was fortunate that my mother supported girls' education. We are four sisters, and she supported us. And for that, she put her marital status on a risk because her husband wanted to leave her just because she wanted to educate her daughters. So I was fortunate that my female teachers at school and college, they used to support me and calm me down. When I joined workforce, I had a mentor who put trust in me, despite the fact that I was the only woman in the ministry that at that time, and who challenged my capabilities and who involved me in every official assignment. For the first time when I went to Australia on scholarship, which was the first time I had stepped out of home without a chaperone, I was homesick, but I can vividly recall that by reading the autobiography of our ex-Prime Minister, Muhtarma Benazir Bhutto, I would console myself by saying that this time would pass soon. Luckily, the professors there were extremely friendly, and they accepted me with open arms. I'm still in contact with them, and especially I'm collaborating with one of my female professors. And we are writing an article on entrepreneurship. Similarly, when I went to the US on a Fulbright scholarship, the entire teaching faculty was cooperative, and I am in contact with those professors till date. Similarly, when I submitted my research paper to International Journal of Excellence, I found Dr. Anne, who is extremely supportive, and my contact with her resulted in this collaboration today. So I'm thankful to all the wonderful women and all the wonderful men around me who supported my journey till this date.
Thank you, Dr. Bushra. For those who tuned in late, this was Dr. Bushra Rahim, who is a Deputy Director of Home and Tribal Affairs for the government in Pakistan, and also Dr. Evangeline Araselvi Whitehead, who is an Associate Professor of English and an Associate Professor in the College of Education in Saudi Arabia. I'm Dr. Ann Gaudino, Associate Professor of Education Leadership, Millersville University of Pennsylvania. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us. We want to thank Steve Hargadon and Lucy Gray for this wonderful conference and allowing us to have a voice. And we hope that through us, that girls' education, women's education will prosper, and the leaders of those educations will prosper. I've put our emails, all three of our emails, in the chat for anyone who is seeing this either now or in the future. Please do reach out to us. We would like to be collaborators with you, and we hope that in some small way we've inspired or touched you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Anne.
you. Yeah. Thank you all for your wonderful listening to our thoughts. And I thank Dr. Anne Gaudino for inviting us to this great 2019 Global Education Conference. Look forward to see you all again in a happy occasion. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, one
Thank
and
you.
all.
Thank you.